All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the My Snowcross Media Racer Roundup. Dom Santina, Matt Kosh back with you here once again. Border Cup is now in the books. Matt was there racing. I was there kind of behind the scenes, but also announcing as well in on all the events that took place. Matt, we'll let you get started. First off, welcome. But
thank you.
What was your thoughts on the Border Cup as a racer and just being there all weekend long?
Well, I'll start off with, first off, we had an incredible, the facilities, the conditions, track, snow, those things were all awesome. I mean, Mark and the crew had done an incredible job. Mother Nature delivered as per schedule, just like we wanted. Clean pits, no mud. I felt like we had a great racer turnout. It was by far our biggest event at Northern Power. And I think the combined CSRA and Michigan Snowcross was fantastic. Few little learning, little items to learn, a few things to improve upon for next season. Some changes that were made even between Saturday and Sunday that seemed to make a difference. But I think overall a great kickoff to what I hope to be an annual event. And I hope it continues to gain momentum. I mean, it was certainly our regional primarily, and the CSRA national, obviously, that came together. Unfortunately didn't really get a bunch of other riders that to make the journey out from Wisconsin or Minnesota. But I think for our event, it was great. I think it was great for the Michigan riders to have that level of competition and a kickoff to the season.
Yeah, I think you hit on it there, and I was telling you here before we got going, but one thing that I did was kind of write down 5 takeaways, and you hit on most of those, but we can dive in just a little bit deeper on each of them. But yeah, I think the last thing you mentioned there really stands out to me the most of, these regional riders for Michigan's primarily really know each other, from weekend to weekend riding at the track, but to get some unfamiliar faces in there and some more competition. I mean, rarely do we have almost a full transition heat or 30 plus has been full, but a pro final that's got 17 deep in it, like
right.
We maybe have 5 or 6, 7 sometimes. So to see those full classes and to the point where we were running LCQs or only top 15 make it in or whatever, depending on how we ran it Saturday to Sunday, was really cool to see. And especially that pro class when you got 15 sleds tearing up that track, was really cool to see. And I hope those that were able to come out or hung around to watch that enjoyed it. Because like I said, that's something we haven't been able to really have there so far. So
yeah, I agree. Again, I feel like from the Michigan, from a Michigan regional rider, I feel like it really elevated our event by having the Canadian National as a partner for this weekend. I thought it was fantastic to have all that extra competition and really kind of challenge and push our riders in preparation for the rest of the season and those that are heading up to Ironwood yesterday and today, getting ready for the national tomorrow.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. Most people are probably going to listen to this either tomorrow morning, which is Friday morning, getting ready for race, or maybe even, after the weekend transpires. But good luck to all of our riders in that regard. But it'll be interesting to see if it does make a difference. If those riders that come out got some seat time in competition setting, not at a practice track, ran some race laps and felt the pressure, if that pays a difference, in round 1 and round 2 on the national circuit.
I think it will. That's my hot take. I think it will make a difference. I think you can run practice. You can run lots of practice, but there's just some elements when you push your body and push your equipment to true race pace. You may think you're practicing at race pace, but when you actually line up and you start taking some of those not so ideal lines and you're forced to to just hang on through some tricky sections and try to just make things happen. It's just different than pounding out a practice lab, in my opinion. I
Well,
think
and I think
racecraft is key.
I think that too, and it also gives those teams an idea of, you think you might have your sled dialed on a start when
Mhm.
you're on a practice track, but how's that really compare to everyone else? Where when you line up with 8 to 15 other riders on the starting line with you, are you really grabbing whole shots or putting yourself in the front, or are your starts nowhere near where
Right.
you think they need to be? And those, the group of riders that came out last weekend have an idea of, man, I really got to work on my starts, or you know what, I have some confidence going to that starting line, knowing that last weekend I ripped some good starts, and I
Mhm.
just got to repeat that same process up in Ironwood. So yeah, I mean, I think, I don't think anyone really left too disappointed with that. I think everyone at least gained some confidence on the sled heading up there to be ready to rock and roll. So,
Sure. Yeah, I would agree.
yeah, I think, and Matt, I'm sure you'll agree to this because you felt some of this too. Maybe not as much given that you were in the afternoon session, but I think just overall, some are doing, some not are doing. It was just a long weekend overall. I think I counted like 30 hours spent at the racetrack between Saturday and Sunday. Just a long weekend, and like I said, we had, I think, 95 races on Saturday, and I think over 90 on Sunday. So that's that's just 180 races, which is going to take a lot of time.
Mhm.
Then you factor in, kind of my second point, and just all the carnage that happened on Saturday, and it just made that day that much longer. And I know Spencer went into an in thorough, or in-depth breakdown of everything on his Carbide podcast, so we'll give him a promo and go check that out. But yeah, just a lot happening all weekend, and I think it took a toll on everybody, honestly.
For sure. And man, I give the track crew and everyone that was working outdoors, working that trackside, a lot of credit, because that Saturday, unfortunately, turned into a really long day. I know no one wanted it to end up that way, but you had to get through the racing, had to finish the program, and it was a long day. Just things compounded and started to get a little bit behind, and it just kind of snowballed. And then a few of the injuries and ambulance and waiting, and suddenly, there we were running the pro main at what, 11:35,
Yeah,
11:40.
11:15, 11:30, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So that was a
Um,
late day, but I mean, I give the crew a lot of credit for just having the guts to just stick it out and just grind through it, which was great. I mean, the show had to go on. You had to get through it.
yeah. No, and I was telling, Matt, this, and I've been lucky enough to kind of have some scenarios. I would say I'm a little bit more than just an announcer there. Renee and Mark have been gracious enough with my time with when the previous series with the Michigan Snow Axe, and then now with Michigan Snowcross, to basically pick up, right where I was with Michigan Snowcross or Michigan Snow Axe, and being kind of in on some of the decisions and conversations that were going on, and that's been the case here with Michigan Snowcross, and so I've kind of been kept in the loop of pretty much everything that's been going on. And so just hearing those conversations, and I kept telling them on Saturday, like, yeah, I understand things feel like everything's on fire right now, but
Mhm.
you also got to think, like, it's a tall task for race one for anybody. I guarantee you things tomorrow night probably aren't going to go perfect for ISOC. Um, Race one goes bad for everybody, no matter what discipline you're in, no matter how high of a promotional series you are. There's things that it's race one. Everyone's in race one. Racers in race one. Track crew, Mark and Renee running the show. Like, everyone's on race one. There's going to be things that are going to happen and go wrong. And I was telling her, it's just going to happen. Like, we can't. Some things are out of our control. We can't control injuries happening. We can't control all of that. And
Right.
so I know they were taking it on the chin pretty hard, but I think, kind of going to my third point, the thing I want to highlight more than how rough Saturday was how excellent Sunday was. I mean, to talk about the turnaround, and I know,
Mhm.
and I give all the props to Mark and Renee for kind of stepping aside and saying, "Yep, we know some people were upset with Saturday and everything and how long it went. Let's use this as a learning experience." CSRA has run tons of races,
Yeah.
and they had some very experienced track crew out there and kind of head track crew people, and they said, "All right, let's come together. Let's figure out how we can make this show better, make everybody happy." And CSRA kind of took the lead a little bit. And not that we can't run it that way. I mean, I've seen Michigan Snowcross run race days just as efficiently. But I think just having that veteran leadership in there and kind of working all together and getting on a better page for day two proved almost a flawless day two. And that's my takeaway is how quick of a transition, how acceptable and willing they were to make that transition and make Sunday such a great day.
I would agree. Yeah, Sunday certainly was, and it wasn't any one singular thing. It was a lot of little things, a lot of little details that just kind of cleaned up the day. But again, those snowballed into successes. Saturday's things compounded into some delays and some things that needed to be cleaned up. But Sunday just kind of snowballed, and they were gaining time on the day as they continued to run, and it ran very well. A couple small tweaks on the track that were made, I think, really helped kind of speed up the start line. Actually, I think sped up the transition on the start line, but also I think made for a little bit safer start, kind of slowed the start, the actual speeds at the start down, kind of added that second little section, which I thought was really creative and really well executed, well thought out. Just some small details that got momentum going the other way and really started to help make time and move that day along and created an excellent racing experience on Sunday, in my opinion. I thought it was fantastic. The track, from track layout to the execution of the day, if you will, the actual race day, organization was very well run.
Yeah, I think, it gets to a point where now you're starting to nitpick and you want everything to go absolutely perfect about Sunday. And I know there's a couple just minor tweaks that can be made. But when you're getting to that point, like I said, from coming from where we were on Saturday, and it just felt like almost nothing could go right. I mean,
yeah.
We're getting ready for, I think it was round one, a pro or whatever, and we have carnage in the first corner, and now we got to redo the whole start line or the whole start stretch and everything, and it was just another delay that we didn't want to happen and wasn't expecting to happen, right? And
right,
so
but it happens. I think those things happen, and
right.
we just have to work through them. It was unfortunate that it compounded through the day. Through the day on Saturday, but thankfully we were able to run through it and get through the whole program.
Yeah, and I think
in it Saturday night and start fresh on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think Spencer had a good take on it. It's little stuff that I think, new ownership in CSRA with the Bonats now taking over. Like we said, biggest event that's ever been run at Northern Power. So I think, giving it another year and finalizing and just ironing out some of those small little discrepancies and things and coming together and learning from it. I think will set them up for just a bigger success next year of just knowing how to hit the ground running from both sides, from CSRA side and from Northern Power side, and just be ready to rock and roll and even put a greater show on, hopefully day one and day two. No matter what, like we said, injuries are going to happen and we can't stop any of that. But one thing another one of my 5 takeaways, and I'm going to make this might actually get posted before the podcast gets posted. But I didn't notice this until I got home, so I apologize. But Dylan Saborin, who's a junior girl, transition girl rider, had a perfect weekend at the Border Cup. Took all of her heat race, took both the finals. Team Canada rider, unfortunately, but a familiar face at Michigan Snowcross Series. So shout out to her. for putting up a great effort this weekend and leading that junior girls and transition girls class. She'll be our rider of the week, given that she races with our series.
Mhm.
And then, Jack Gelinas doing what he does. That's no surprise for Team Canada.
Out
The one
front.
that, out front. By the way, I said this about 10 times this weekend, and I said it over the air multiple times, but I thought he had the best sled wrap out of anyone. I don't know if you got to see it, Matt, but it
We
was
did. I saw
decked out.
some. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not.
decked out in all Canada stuff. Looked slightly better than the Team USA ones. I think it just looked better on the Skidoo. I don't know. But Donks Designs coming up with that. So shout out to them for having that 6 sled wrap, and it looked good, and it looked good out front. And then shout out to, we were able to come up with a kind of MVP style award for the Border Cup, and that was also one of those on the fly trying to figure out results from Saturday. With it being a long day, I didn't get to look through a lot. So Sunday in the booth, I was kind of during grooming break scrambling to figure out who I thought made a big impact through the Border Cup, and looking at total points and who performed well in finals. And Carter Van Horsey raced in our junior 14-17, which was a good group to race in, and
Sure,
then
yeah, fast group.
also
Definitely.
also Sport Light. So I thought, kind of two of the more competitive races, and he went 1-2 and 1-2 on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So finishing the top 2 spots on the box in both those classes, and did it for both rounds, which is what I was really looking for. I wasn't looking for someone that was going to, just show up one day and not show up the other. So congratulations to Carter on winning that award and putting on a good weekend for himself. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, congratulations, Carter. That was well done. Well deserved.
And I was, I know everyone was tired, but I think I didn't add this into my takeaways. But one thing I was kind of excited to see was, I was curious to see how the whole trophy presentation was going to go, right? Like, I figured it was going to probably be the afternoon group that was going to be there, because most of the morning people would either be, on their way home or leaving the track. So I was kind of curious on how that would go over and what the reception with the trophy would be. And I think, I don't know if it necessarily lived up to my expectations, but I think it was still a bigger deal than maybe I downplayed throughout the weekend. I think there was still some excitement out of Team Canada when I announced that they had won the trophy, and some of the riders were still there. So that was cool to see in my eyes. Is that, like,
Sure.
it did matter at the end of the day to them, right? Like, they were excited to take that trophy home, and I could, the American riders that came to the podium, I could tell there was some disappointment seeing that trophy go to Team Canada. Like, I could tell it's not like they were just out there running laps and didn't care about that trophy. There was some care between the two teams.
No, that was good. It added an extra element to the excitement.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll have a bigger crowd next year for the trophy presentation. But yeah, they were definitely excited about it. And I think, again, one of my final takeaways is something that Spencer hit on really, really hard, and has hit on for multiple episodes. But, just the lack of representation by Team USA. Just really, I have the results pulled up right now, but I was looking earlier too. Transition is the only area where we really outnumbered Canada and put up bigger point totals.
Sure.
Transition in some of our younger junior classes, we beat Team Canada. 200s, Canada's got us. Junior 14-17, it was close on Sunday. It wasn't close on Saturday. Sport Light, Sunday was better than Saturday. Pro Women, Canada ran away with. Plus 30, we dominated Canada. So, Matt, that's you guys. Sport, Canada dominated. Pro Light, we did okay, but Pro was dominated again by Canada. So, yeah. And I mean, I know Tyler had his struggles, right?
Yeah.
Tyler was probably our best hope for our Pro class. And Sunday, or Saturday gets sent off the track. Sunday gets tied up with a lapper, goes
Yep.
down. Just just wasn't his weekend.
Sure. Now but he showed the speed. Like he showed he could definitely run at the front and make his way. He could run at the front from the front and also make his way up through the pack. I mean, he had a great showing, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, he did. He rode well. I will
Oh.
say, I don't know if anybody else thought this, but I thought that pro final on Sunday night was the most entertaining race out of the whole night, and just simply for there was so much going on. Like it
Yes.
was the only race that I've broadcasted there where I literally had no clue who was. I knew who was leading, and that was it. I had no clue who second was, no clue who third was. No clue who was on the lead lap, who was not. It was chaotic. There was a lot going on. Every time you turned around, somebody was tied up with somebody or down, or
Yeah.
it was wild. I'll say that. So
yeah, it was a good race. That was fun to watch. Fun to watch
Yeah.
it all play out. I thoroughly enjoyed that race.
Yeah, I was also helping with timing, obviously, but yeah, it was fun to watch. A lot going on, made it entertaining to wrap up the night. I thought, for the most part, there was a lot of good races. Not a ton of bar to bar racing, but there was some good battles here and there. But
Mhm.
I don't think there was really many races where I sat back and was like, oh, the entertainment value is not here for this one. I thought there were some good battles. I thought your 30 plus race was good. I thought that was entertaining. We had a pretty good even mix of the USA guys and the Canada guys. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I thought so too. Spencer didn't cover it in his podcast, but I mean, 16 and 30 plus on Saturday and 12 on Sunday was a very good showing for the Pro 30 plus class. I thought that was awesome myself.
Yeah, I thought it was good too. Just because you guys had your own little battle going on within the battle.
Mm-hmm.
You, Ryan, and Steve were kind of all together for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was kind of keeping my eye on that battle, watching you three go at it. I think that was third, fourth, and fifth. You guys were battling there for a while. So
Yeah.
That made it intriguing as well. Just seeing you guys together and seeing who were, I'd say you three are pretty close in speed. So it was interesting to see you three go at it and see who was going to come out on that. So
there's a CSRA guy that came. I didn't know the name. He won it. He won it on Saturday and was second on Sunday. I was surprised at the speed. I'm not sure again if he had just come from the pro class or where he had come from, but definitely had tremendous speed on Saturday coming into that class.
I think that was Tyler Billings.
Here we go. Yeah.
Spencer had on his podcast. So yeah, it sounded like, again, don't know a lot from the CSRA realm, but sounds like he has some maybe pro light experience at CSRA and now jumped up, kind of like which was cool to see. We don't see him much at Northern Power much anymore, but Saturday night Tyler Uman was at the track turning some laps, which would be maybe our version of Tyler Billings coming from the pro light side down to 30 plus. So Tyler also took third on Saturday. Danny Delecky for Team USA sitting second in that class. So
then Danny won it on Sunday.
Yeah, he's got some
to
speed.
watch.
Yeah, he's got some speed for sure. So yeah, no, I thought good overall racing from that side of things, and just enjoying the product. Still trying to recover. I think 4 days later, I still don't feel totally recovered from the weekend, but excited to sit back and watch tomorrow and Saturday and see what happens with our regional guys at nationals. Matt, is there anybody that you have your eyes on for this weekend?
I mean, I think some of our guys that are going to be bigger contenders: Brandon Martinson, Charlie Lucas, Porter Jacklich. I think those will be some of our junior riders that are going to make a name for themselves at the national this weekend. I think there's some good contenders. Archambault's going to be very solid. I think he's going to be a one to watch this season in pro life for his second year. I think it's going to be great. I think, and again, I firmly believe the riders that did their drops, did their starts, got their race laps in, are going to have an advantage this weekend over the folks that just pounded out some more laps on the practice track. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I last week or 2 weeks ago, I kind of sat down and just looked back a little bit on what happened last year in national points, and then looked at who we have, what's coming this year, and I think I told a couple people. I don't know if I told you on over the weekend, but I sat back and really looking at it. I'm like, man, we have a shot at almost every championship. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think we can have a serious contender across the board everywhere. I mean, you look at pro, right? I mean, he's not necessarily a Michigan Snowcross guy, but he's from the state of Michigan. We know Jake, I mean, coming off the year he had last year, could be in the running.
For sure.
Could be, in the championship hunt. You go to pro light, Tyler's there. I mean, and before he got hurt, I mean, he was leading. He grabbed the whole shot at Ironwood last year. I think race 1 and was leading. So he can do it. And he can run up front. You go to sport, Kenny. I mean, Kenny's got to be one of the favorites in the sport class.
Yeah, Kenny Goicke for sure.
Finished top 5 in points last year. He's got to be one of the guys. The Myers looked phenomenal this weekend. And they got one in sport, pro light, and I think
juniors,
sport light, maybe juniors or sport light, something like that. Yeah. So, I mean, they're in contention. You add in, you got one kid that had a really good ride, especially in sport this weekend. And I know he's working on going all in on it this year. And it was awesome to see him finish on the box to end the weekend. Was Austin Allen.
Austin looked really good this past week. Very solid. Looked very good. I think maybe some of that ATV riding over the summer has really helped kind of finally tune his program. But yeah, he did look really good out on track this past weekend. He looked comfortable. Sled looked good. He looked good. Looking forward to seeing how he does.
So you got Austin, you got Brandon, you got Ethan. You got a lot of names that have the potential to be up there and compete, and kind of they would have to break out a little bit, I think, but have the potential to contend. I thought Porter, for jumping up into an older age bracket this year, was right in the mix of things.
Right where he left off in the younger bracket last year.
Yeah, did not look uncomfortable at all. I think I definitely think he's one that could be starting to put himself on the map a little bit this year. Then you mentioned it, Charlie Lucas, even though he's a Team Canada guy, he's a Michigan Snowcross guy, and Jack Gelinas.
Mm-hmm.
Jack's going to be contending for any championship he's in.
Sure.
One unfortunate loss for us this weekend with Brock Wilson getting hurt. He was a guy that could contend, had been in the top 3 in national 200 points the last 2 years.
Sure.
So him having a leg injury this weekend definitely hurt. But there's a lot of
Gifford and Stone, Eva Gifford and Tess Stone. Those I saw them running.
Eva looked really good this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I was very impressed. I know she didn't run some of the transition. I think she only ran junior girls, but she looked good.
Mm-hmm.
And I told their camp that this weekend that I was impressed, and she came out swinging. I think she finished on the box second both days. But I think she's someone that could surprise somebody. Going back to pro women, I don't know if I mentioned Inanna yet, but we always know Inanna is a favorite for the championship. And then I think this could be the year. I think she got on it last year, but I don't know if she's going to be with Malene and Inanna for the championship, but I think Riley ends up on – this might be my hot take, but I think Riley ends up on the box at least once, if not more than once. through this season as long as she stays healthy.
Sure.
I think she's got the drive and the motivation and the ability. She's maturing as a rider and becoming quite the rider. And now with another year in that pro women's class this year, I think she's gonna be in the mix of things for sure.
Yep, absolutely. It's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, Ironwood on tap, and then we get a break for a little bit. We'll be the next series to come back after the holidays. Get another 2 rounds of Michigan Snowcross.
Yep, January 4th and 5th, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so. I think those are the dates. So excited to get everybody back. I know I got updates from the area. They got about close to another foot of snow last night.
Yeah, Ironwood's looking solid. No mud.
Yeah.
No mud in Ironwood. Maybe bundle up. I did see where it's pretty chilly.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. Well, that will wrap us up here for this one.
Awesome.
We appreciate everybody tuning in. Glad to see everybody at the Border Cup last weekend. Hope everyone does well this race weekend, and we'll see hopefully most of you in January. Thanks, Matt. Have a happy holidays.
Thanks.
Have a happy holidays. Merry Christmas, and we'll connect soon.